Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. It's available from Chaosium. I'm the Keeper of Arcane Lore, and this is episode 62. Our recap will be given by Keith Craig as his character, Gunter Block. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Keith?
Thank you, Tom. From the Journal of Gunter Block, Constantinople, line, Istanbul, Turkey. I thought I'd seen some insane events on this journey over the past, what has it been, a month? Is that it? Oh, time slows down when you're stressed. Our guide Ferrer said that he had arranged a meeting with the sweaty man, Balab. He was going to meet us in a bathhouse. He knows a lot of things, but he told us that he doesn't like to waste time, and so we better discuss what we wanted to ask him. We had a decent meeting over dinner to come up with what questions we wanted to ask. It was quite the debate whether or not we should just be direct with him or try and ask around the issue. Being direct won out. We crossed the Bosporus and went to the bathhouse. The Turkish people sure know how to have luxury and relax. I will admit that the bathhouse was quite relaxing, even though the heat and the steam were a bit uncomfortable. Baylab was even a fatter man than I pictured. So almost a stereotypical know-it-all. We first started asking him some questions just to try and get a feel for what he knew, and then we decided to just go with the direct approach. We asked him about the Red Tower. He said that it's in a bad neighborhood and was very dangerous, and we shouldn't go there. However, it is visible by boat, which piqued my interest. Maybe we could rent a boat and check it out. I'd get some binoculars. He said that Gurazant was a scholar that had some things that were buried with him. He was buried in Üsküdar here in Istanbul. Once those two questions were asked, he started advising that maybe we were asking dangerous questions, and his advice was that we should just leave this quest behind. Dr. Neruda told him that wasn't an option, that leaving the quest behind would doom the world. Then we just came right out with it. Did you know about the Brotherhood of the Skin? When we said that, for the first time, Balab's calm personality dropped, and he showed visible shock. He said that he quizzed us to know what we knew, and we quizzed him. We were interrupted by another man that came in. He called Balab a traitor and slit his throat right in front of us. That wasn't so bad. What was bad was then what happened to Balab's body. The cultist, for lack of a better term, whispered it, said some incantation, and Balab started melting, almost like he was made out of wax. Then another one came in with a knife. Theodore quickly engaged the one with a towel and started bashing his head against the pillar. Roland fled to the locker room, I assume to get his wonderful knife, and I threw the hot tea into the face of the other cultists. After all, I'm not very good at fighting, but hot water seems to be the great equalizer. What happened after that was quite horrible. Theodore knocked the cultist down into the muck that used to be Balab, and then he started to be absorbed into the offal and the pus and everything, and then the other cultist was knocked down, and he started being absorbed also. Once we had neutralized the threat, we quickly left, got dressed, and headed out of this madhouse. I hope that I can get out of Istanbul with my life, and check that with my sanity.
So also, if you recall, you started to make plans for what to do. You were afraid of staying at the Petra Palace, knowing that there's probably cultists who have infiltrated the staff there. And Farrar has said that he will find something.
Right. And in the meantime, we discussed staying with the Sir Douglas
consulate.
Rutherford, at the consulate.
At the consulate, not at his estate. So we'd have the benefit of the guards at the consulate.
All right, so that's where we left it. You are at the consulate. Have you told this horror story to Sir Douglas?
We may want to leave out the melting and tentacle part, but
yeah, I think I'd leave that out.
But include the assassination and assault.
So Balab was assassinated.
I'm sure there's conversation all over the city about this, as he was a notable personality.
Yeah.
And I suppose as consul, he can provide some sort of potential legal protection from this, as probably some of the rumors about the assassination include the visitors from away.
Well, surprisingly, although the governor, of course, hears about it through his channels, nobody has said anything about melting Balab.
Right.
You think that the cult might have enough sway that the average person who might know a little bit is terrified. So they're not going to open their mouths about anything, even if they saw something. And there were definitely some people in that hammam that saw stuff.
Yeah, although I think a lot of the bathers themselves probably fled at the first sight of the maniacs brandishing knives and didn't stick around long enough to see the dissolving victim.
Yeah.
There also doesn't seem to be any much said by the police, which also might indicate that
this is why they're so ineffective at solving the mystery of the missing children if they are infiltrated already to such an extent. Just the fact that out of, 50 in the consulate, there were 5.
Yeah.
After we exposed 1, 4 others disappeared. So they have numbers. But that makes the consulate the safest place because we've just exposed the ones there.
Yeah. Well, Rutherford, then, privately, he's with you. What can we do? How can I assist?
Well, we suspect that the children who have been snatched may be in the Red Mosque, the dome of which is visible on the left bank of the river. So if he can send... we were told that the neighborhood itself is extremely dangerous in general principles. So if we had some sort of escort that he could provide.
I think if we look through our notes and things, we can tell, yes, okay, I think we know the general area. It's a poor area, lots of hooligans. Yes, we can certainly have somebody accompany you there.
So the question is whether we individually wish to make an excursion to the cemetery and see if this tomb of Garaznet can provide us with some of the materials we need?
I mean, I think we need to go there, and I think that might be pressing our luck to ask the Sir Rutherford to go grave robbing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially with him not knowing the whole story.
But if there are scrolls there, then we might wish to have those in our possession before we attempt the assault on the mosque, yes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you want to go do a little grave robbing before you assault the mosque.
Oui.
Just a light grave robbing excursion, nothing serious.
Light one.
Some spades, some picks.
So we'll say that it takes you a bit of time to find out the information you need. There is a ferry that crosses the Bosporus over to Uskadar. I believe that it's every 3 hours it goes. It takes about an hour to cross. It runs until 11 p.m. when it returns. However, the Uskadar cemetery is not unpopular. Tourists go there to see it. Of course, people who have people and ancestors buried there go to see it all during the day.
Right.
At night, it would be pretty much abandoned.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would think. I think we'd go during the day, try and find the grave. It's going to be a lot easier to find it in the daylight, and then make notes of where it's at.
I take it back. It's every 2 hours until 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Of course, boarding the ferry with a bunch of shovels and picks would look very suspicious. Alternatively, you could get a private person to take you across.
Mm-hmm.
That actually might be a good idea. So we could.
So you could look for it. You could come back. You could get a private person.
And then private boat, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
All right.
So let's see, what time of day is it at this point?
I think our meeting with Balab was
in the morning. Oh, it was at 1 o'clock.
Just after lunch, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is
and it took you a while to get back. So it's about 3 in the afternoon. It's at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Okay.
January, so the sun sets.
Yeah, it's going to set fairly. You're getting closer to the equator, so it'll be longer. But
yeah, Turkey's still pretty far north, though. So
right.
Okay.
And it might take you quite some time to find the graves.
Yeah. We should make sure we know how to spell Garaznet in Turkish.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would help.
When we do that research today instead of headed over there, because by the time we get across and everything, it might be twilight already.
Also, if there's a bazaar on the Uskadar side, we could take the ferry over tomorrow, find the grave, and purchase implements on that side.
Yeah.
Farrar will probably know if there's a suitable market or someplace.
Are there like pleasure cruises that cruise up and down the Bosporus? What I was wanting to do, just so you know, is like try and see if I can see this mosque from the water.
Okay. So what you would want to do is you would want to go up the Golden Horn.
Okay, let me open the map.
It's between Stample and
Got it. Yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
Yes, you can always, everybody's an entrepreneur. Everybody is trying to make money. You can definitely get somebody to take you on a little cruise up the Bosporus and see if you can see the mosque. All right.
I think, gentlemen, want to try and do a little recon?
That sounds prudent.
So as you get down to the docks, there are numerous people. Of course, they see you. They almost immediately know that you are tourists because you don't look like the locals, and everybody wants to offer you a boat ride. So it's not that hard to do. I'll say within 15 or 20 minutes of being down by the docks, you've already secured somebody. We'll say his name is Hakeem.
Keen.
He says, "Oh yes, I can show you the many beautiful things. We'll go around the base and you'll see Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque and all of these things. And we'll go up the Horn, to beautiful houses that people have built, and very colorful and all of that."
Mm-hmm.
So off you go. The water is in fairly good condition, so it's not too choppy. He actually serves you non-alcoholic drinks, tea, as you go. He's got like an awning on the back of his boat, so you're not in the blistering sun. And you look as you go. What I would like you all to do spot hidden rolls.
Uh-huh.
Oh, 85.
26. That is a pass, regular.
Okay. So you're kind of judging for yourself what the neighborhood looks like as you're going. And you can see that it's it varies. There seem to be a lot of ramshackle buildings mixed in with buildings that have been kept up. You can see more or less power lines. You can see all of that going. Some places are prettier than others, and then all of a sudden there'll be this beautiful building that looks like a palace, followed by lower, less important buildings. You'll also begin to notice that there are a lot of mosques. So as you're going, it's like, oh, well, there's a dome, and there's a dome, and there's a dome, and there's a dome. But eventually, as in one sort of neighborhood that doesn't look very good, peeking up over the buildings in the background, you can't really tell how far in it is, but you can see this dome, and the dome is made of brick, so it is red.
Mm-hmm.
And the little moon emblem that's normally on the top of it, there isn't one, so it's either been broken off or it's not a working mosque.
Mm-hmm.
It's an abandoned building. But you're pretty sure of all of the buildings that you've seen, that one's definitely red. You can't see the base of it, you can see the dome of it.
Hakeem, that dome there, most of the mosques we've seen, they've had the crescent moon on it, and that one kind of looks like a mosque, but it doesn't. Is that one defunct, or
probably abandoned? Yeah, that happens.
Oh.
Popularity comes, popularity goes. Neighborhoods go uphill and downhill, and eventually if nobody goes to it for a long time, nobody upkeeps it,
Mm. Mm.
and it falls apart.
What's
So
is that neighborhood over there with surrounding that?
he looks at it. He looks at his maps, and he gives you a Turkish name.
Okay.
I don't have one. He says that doesn't look like a very good neighborhood.
No.
Not a place you'd want to go if you're a tourist. There's much more beautiful places, and he goes on and
Mm-hmm.
show you the more beautiful places.
Marked.
So is this on the Paris side or the Istanbul side?
This is on the. It's on the Istanbul side. It is on the Istanbul side. So it's literally on the south. The Golden Horn goes diagonal,
Yeah.
but it kind of goes like like this. So it's definitely on the south of it.
Okay.
Kind of if you look at that, is the okay. So you've got the black line, which is the wall on the land, and then you've got the side going down to the point. About halfway is where it is.
Okay.
So there's a seaport close to it, yes?
Not put well, let's see. Here, I'll show you. So the red mosque is right about here.
Oh, so close to it. Looks like there's a bridge that crosses the Golden Horn right there.
Yes, there actually is a bridge.
Okay.
It's not the big bridge, it's a smaller bridge.
And where currently is the consulate?
It should be up in Para because that's the nice part of
British consulate is all the way up here.
At
It's
10, yeah.
At 10. Okay. Thanks.
This is the main bridge that comes across. The Galata Bridge.
Well, with it being by that bridge, that's a very nice landmark. It'll make it easy to explain to Sir Rutherford how to find it.
Yep.
You know,
Do is get to the far side of where that bridge touched down, and then we'll be close.
Can I do I've got photography. Can I take a picture of this building?
Sure.
Yep.
If you brought your camera, sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. So you end up heading back to the port, and you get off. Now it's probably the sun is going down after your little jaunt. You're going to head back to the consulate.
yeah. They'll have good maps there too. We can plan the Uskadar.
And have you
journey.
already moved your stuff from the
Yes.
Para to the consulate?
I think we probably
I think you did. Yeah. All right. So you get back to the consulate. It's evening. What do you want to do? What are your plans?
Yeah. My plan, because we're going to have a busy day tomorrow, is maybe look at a couple maps like Dr. Kerr suggested of Uskadar, and then try and get a good night's sleep because we moved to a place where we think we're safe. And when you get a chance to sleep, you should take it when you're in a.
Yeah. Okay. In what you can tell from Uskadar is the place that you want, that you suspect most likely, is the Kara Shalamet cemeteries, and they're right near the coast, but they're not really near the port. So it'll take you a little time to get a drive there. However, if you use somebody privately to take you across, they could drop you off literally kind of right at the cemeteries. They don't have to necessarily go into a port to do it.
That sounds like the way to go.
Yeah.
They
Also, if
do
we,
that at night so that you're not seen.
somebody that for all knows is less likely to dump us into the sea as well.
Good point. Yeah.
Since we are presumably were followed to our meeting with Baylab. Now, why do you think he was being called a traitor by them?
Well, I would assume that he's a member.
Yeah, that would explain why he knew a lot if they've infiltrated as much as we suspect. I mean, it's strange though that if he was a member that he would tell us.
Well, people join religious groups for all sorts of reasons.
True. Yeah.
He may not have necessarily joined out of religious belief, but out of necessity.
Yeah.
I can tell you that you saw most of Baylab, and it was all Baylab.
Right.
Oh, Baylab, baby.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. The baths seem like the best place to find out whether somebody has unusual seams.
True.
There's also, we don't want to homogenize this group. I mean, we don't know what exactly it is that their structure is, but there could be lower level neophytes as opposed to, say, I'm sure not everybody in the organization's on the same level of the hierarchy as Solomon the Red, but the same magical capacities, the same willingness to take on the skins of other people. I mean, Baylaf could have been taken into their confidence as an associate or a very low-level initiate.
Yeah.
Or it could have been that the cult hired him to get info on us, and he betrayed them in that way.
Okay.
Either way, he was far more enmeshed with them than we would have liked.
Yeah. Definitely.
And he paid the price for that.
Well, he became quite literally enmeshed with them at a certain point.
It also became homogenous.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. That was an awful thing to see.
Milkshake.
Yeah, so some cemeteries are well documented with maps. Others are less organized. If the console has a map that includes any detail about the cemetery, that could be helpful. And also, we again need to get the correct phonetic spelling of our thief/scholar's name.
We'll call it a library role. We're doing research.
12. So that's extreme.
So the problem with the cemetery itself is it's over 1,000 years old. It is a bit Byzantine and Ottoman, and it's kind of got just a mixture in places, and then there's some separations in places. The Christians have a strong sense of the sacred, so there's not like they tend to keep their cemetery in pretty good shape. Still, there are tombs that are 1,000 years old. The Muslim part is also fairly well maintained, but there's a little bit more superstition about dead bodies and cleanliness laws. There's also Jewish parts of the cemetery and other things, and all these different cultures are kind of come together. So it's an interesting place, but organized, it's not. Not for a long time. However, you know that he was not Christian. He was in the Ottoman Empire, so he was a Muslim. So you can skip the Christian parts of the cemetery. And as to writing it out correctly, don't know whether it's going to be in Persian, Turkish, or anything like that, but they can easily write that out for you and what it would look like. The only people who might know a closer idea of where it would be the Topkapi Museum. Somebody there might have some closer documentation on exactly where it is, but other than that, you'll just have to look for it.
Now, is a Muslim part of it, because is there newer parts so we could go, okay, well, people that died in 1300 were kind of buried here, and as the cemetery expanded, maybe could narrow it down a little bit.
It might help, yeah.
Okay, all right.
When it comes down to it, it's going to be a dice roll.
Yeah.
How long it takes you to find.
Yeah, so we try to sleep early and rise early and get a ferry, and we can ask Farrar to seek a ferryman for an evening journey. But I suppose he should come with us and help us search the cemetery. 2 more eyes can't hurt.
Yep.
Yeah. So unless you have something else this evening, we can skip ahead to morning. Okay. Nothing touches you in the consulate. You're in fairly good hands. In the morning, when Farrar shows up, he has a smile on his face. And he is like, I have wonderful news. He says, my wealthy cousin, who lives in Istanbul near the very nice district, is very much willing to put you up. His compound is surrounded by an iron gate with spikes on the top, so it would not be an easy place to break into. It's like a small fortress. But he has 3 extra rooms if you would like them. And he also has a vault if there's anything, because he's wealthy and has things. If you want to keep your valuables there.
Wonderful news for our.
Do we take rolls for the simulacrum against our?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Because that's a good point.
Yeah, every morning.
So I got the roll Constitution.
Oh, 92 level headache. Oh, wow.
I passed with the 45.
Nice. I am not sick, but again, my leg is hurting really bad, so I'm slower than I already was.
Yeah.
Okay, my dex I passed, but the strength I failed, so I'm unable. Yeah, heavy objects, not gonna move them well.
Good. You have your afflictions. So Farrar, probably has his brother and his cousin.
Yeah.
If you need help moving the stuff, it's not. It's back across the bridge, but it's a good neighborhood.
Okay. All right.
So we'll say if that's what you're going to do, that's going to take an hour and a half to get you all moved in there. And if you're looking for secrecy, he won't take you directly there. You'll go odd ways. In fact, he seems almost, he was so upset by yesterday that he is very much taking you secretly in different directions. I don't know. It makes you feel more secure because he's gone out of his way to be careful that nobody's following you. And it's exactly as you expected. It's actually a bit more of a modern place. It's a lot of white marble and concrete and couple stories, and rather opulent on the inside. And he does in fact have a vault if you want to use that.
Like putting the respective pieces behind the multiple walls is extremely wise at this point.
Yes.
Agreed.
We are not surprised that we're not taking anyone by surprise at this point.
And then you tell him what you're planning. And he says that, to what extent are you telling him what you...
We're telling him that we wish to locate this grave during the daylight, and that we'll be making some boat trips at night that are somewhat confidential. So if he has a cousin with a powerful skiff.
Oh, that's a good one. Why don't you roll? Who's got the worst luck?
46 on my end.
Pretty good luck.
I have 49.
I'm at 50.
So
sounds like me.
Gunter, that's pretty good luck.
25.
So he's got a cousin named, I don't know what.
His cousin Ahmed has an excellent skiff.
Yes, he is willing. He is willing to take you back across, and he'll take you right to Uskadar, right to Karajakmet, and then drop you off. And then he will simply wait, quarter mile off coast for you to return.
Excellent.
Covertly.
We'll pick up some shuttered lanterns. It's a bazaar at some point.
All right. So you take the regular ferry across. Farrar is with you. You get off at the regular spot. You have to take some sort of transportation to get to Karajakmet. And when you get there, it is a fairly impressive cemetery. It seems to go on and on in all directions. There's every style, every kind of design.
Did they go mostly for mausoleum style or mostly for in-ground?
They're almost all built up. So you realize at this point that it might have been very helpful had Dabrowski survived. He might have been able to direct you according to the architecture of the way the tombs are built. Do any of you have archaeology or
Hmm.
I have anthropology.
Well,
I have some of this as well. Yeah.
try that.
Got decent anthropology.
Yeah, archaeology. I have 1%.
I'm okay with archaeology, but not. I've got 21 in it.
Why don't you try rolling?
Oh yeah,
You might get lucky.
my great rolling ability.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
64.
58 out of 21. So that's a definite.
I have a little bit more and rolled a little bit worse. So, but there might be
right.
something. We're looking for something about 100 years old. Is this correct? 100 and something? We think
No,
Garaznet was buried in 1804, or am I confusing him?
that's not.
1804 was when the last time anybody visited the scrolls, which was Suleiman.
Red. Yeah. Garaznet is. Oh crap. 400 years ago.
Hmm. Hmm. So do we want to try to figure out rough quadrants and stalk independently? And do we see anyone with a bear anywhere in the cemetery?
You do not. You do see, a fairly decent handful of people here and there. Some people that are obviously tourists, that are just looking at the interesting tombstones, and some people that seem there for more serious reasons. Um, some one of you pick do a 1d4.
Okay, I got it. 1.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, then you get kind of lucky. Ferrari's with you, and he's pointing out these are Turkish, these are Muslim, the symbols here are this, these are that. You're looking for Kurdish in this case.
Ah,
He identifies some, and after only about an hour, you end up in part of the cemetery. Now, they have really crammed things in here, but you finally find a mausoleum. It's of antique carven stone. It's almost worn smooth in places, which made it a little difficult to identify, but fortunately the Persian lettering is he's able to make it out, and he says this is it here. Now what you realize is that there is an epitaph that sort of sticks up, and then there is a flat tomb area. And he says the only way to handle this would be that you're going to need to remove the top part. You're going to have to dig a little, and then that coffin or sarcophagus will be down below.
Hmm.
You can all do spot hits.
How tampered with it does it look?
16 is a hard success.
Regularly.
Well, I'm sorry, David, what did you say?
I was wondering if it looked tampered with at all.
Tampered with. Well, with Dr. Gabriel's thing, it doesn't look, I mean, it looks dusty a little bit, but it does look like parts of the area have been maintained and cleaned. It's just really old and worn away. The weeds have been, taken down. So I don't know. It doesn't look in bad condition. You're thinking you're going to need pry bars or something, though, to break into it.
I'm just relieved that it doesn't look as though it has had a pry bar taken to it in the last 2 years. There is nothing indicating it has not been defaced at all, and there's also nothing like flowers or anything, right? Yes?
Correct. Yeah, right. So as you are there, everybody do spot hiddens for me?
Mhm.
Going to blame the headache.
I got an 01.
Oh,
Wow.
So-
Yeah, I failed.
so Gunter, your eyes are very sharp.
Today. Yeah.
You've seen all these people here and there throughout the cemetery. In every case, you would probably guess they all seem normal.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've noticed that there is a fellow that seems to be creeping around the graveyard. He's staying on the periphery. Well, not the periphery of the periphery of the area that you're in.
Right.
And he's been watching. He's been watching some of the other people in the graveyard too. And you realize that this man, he looks maybe like he's homeless. His hair hasn't been combed in 10 years, and it's long, and his beard and mustache are long. His clothes are raggedy, and he moves around the graveyard a bit like a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, you'll see him get down on all fours on top of one of these graves and act like he's talking to it.
Oh, okay. I will point that out to the group. Be like, see that strange man there? He seems like maybe he knows this
Well,
place,
I
and
mean,
he would know the Watchman cycle.
or if depending on, we've seen all sorts of crazy things in our journey. If he's actually talking to the people who are buried to some degree, he might be able to verify that we have the right grave.
True. About how far away is he?
Well, he does never seem to stand still. So at the moment, he's maybe 50 feet away from you.
Okay.
Oh, just 50 feet.
Okay. You notice too that he's barefoot. He's kind of almost leaped animal-like up onto one of the graves.
Right.
And he's gibbering at it.
Does he look anything like our friend from Paris's catacombs?
Like a ghoul? No.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, he's probably as filthy as one, but he doesn't
While
have
his
dog-like figures.
his clothes are ragged, but they are not a military uniform from 140 years earlier, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's 50 feet, so I don't really have to yell too loud. Good nightin', which is good morning in Turkish. Good nightin'.
he suddenly rears up almost like a meerkat, standing on his tiptoes on the grave, looking over at you. And as he stands there quietly for a few moments, and he goes like this, and just sort of hops back down again. And when this happens, Farrar, no, I'm sorry, what's his name?
Yeah, Farrar.
Yeah. Farrar looks up and over at him, and he says, that's Ulularin Yoldashe. He's a rather famous beggar. He's called the Companion of the Dead. He lives here in the cemetery. He's crazy.
Oh.
But harmless.
Oh. I get out a couple lira in paper money, and what was his name?
Ularen Oleshe?
Ulularen Yoldashe, which means companion of the dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go Ulashe and hold up the lira.
He once again sort of stands up like a meerkat and looks at you, and then steps off the grave and puts his hands on his hips and comes walking over to you like a gentleman, looking at you with a smug sort of look on his face, and snatches the money from your hand.
And I'll kind of like tip my hat, because if he wants to play gentleman, I'll give him the respect. As like going, do you often see people in this part of the cemetery, or is this more of an abandoned?
He says something in Turkish.
Yeah.
And Farrar says, obviously he doesn't understand you. He says the dead are restless, and they need people to talk to them because they're very lonely. And he looks at Farrar.
Yes. Okay. Nod and go, Dr.
Farrar, ask him if he's ever spoken to the fellow in this particular tomb.
He says that to him, and Companion of the Dead jumps up onto the grave, gets down onto his hands and knees and puts his ear against it, and he says, so, I'm just translating, but he says, oh yes. He says, you should all just talk to him. He's very lonely. He needs the company. He's very, very sad. He says, but have a party, enjoy your time. He'll be very happy to make your acquaintance.
We understand he is a scholar of some note, and wish to give him all our respect.
He says something to the effect of, well, he says, knowledge is fleeting. He doesn't need any knowledge where he is. Just the occasional friendly word, like this one over here. And he leaps to another grave and says, he starts gibbering some little song and whistling to that grave, and then he moves on. And he seems to have lost notice of you. And he goes back to rambling.
Strange man.
Yeah.
Yet I wouldn't want to not pay what he's experiencing from what we've experienced in the past. I don't know. There might be something to this.
Yeah, he may know something we do not.
So you know where it is, and
Mhm.
you've identified various landmarks around you. So you think it shouldn't be that hard to find. It's a ways into the graveyard, but you'd be able to find it again even at night.
Okay.
So we
What do you want to do?
take the ferry back, go to the bazaar, get some well-designed oil lanterns that we can use cautiously in the night.
Mhm.
A
Pry
couple of
bars.
pry bars, a shuffle, maybe uh, some sacks to take the things away with, in fairly in some disguise. Maybe even we bring some tubes like the ones, not as fancy as the one in Topkapi, but something that a scroll will fit in nicely and protect it.
Right.
Good, good.
Um, and then we meet cousin Ahmed at dusk.
Okay. So we'll say that you've done that. You've taken the ferry back. You've got what you need: crowbars, shovels, uh, and whatever else that you need. And as evening approaches, you meet with what'd you name him?
Ahmed.
Cousin Ahmed.
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 Meet with cousin Ahmed, and you take the boat back across. This time rather covertly,
Mhm.
heading not towards the dock, but towards the shoreline that wasn't too far from where you want to go. Do a spot hidden.
Oh, extreme.
I got an 03.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's better
Two
than my
extremes.
extreme.
My 92 headache is an 85 spot hidden.
So got two extremes there. So you might be paranoid, but as your boat is traveling across the Bosporus, heading toward Uskadar, you get the funny feeling. Now, you see other boats. You've seen other boats all day. It's a busy seaport. But there is this boat that's small, like the one that you're on, that seems to be off a ways, about a mile. But you get the awfully strange feeling that it's heading in the same direction you are.
And what size boat was this here again?
It's just a little, fishing boat.
Okay.
So it could just be a fishing boat.
Yeah, it could be a fishing boat, or it could be some unwelcome guests company on our little night voyage here.
Did any of you bring any weapons?
Thursby is always armed. I have only a close range object, of course.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it takes about an hour to get across.
Do we wish to try some evasive action if you are both seeing this vessel is keeping up with us in some regard?
Well,
It's some mile away. I mean,
it's
oh,
off in the distance. Um, we'll say that after about a half an hour or so, it seems to have moved farther away. So it's not keeping up with you, even if it seems to be sort of traveling in the same direction. Maybe not towards the same destination. Maybe it's just heading towards a cove where they've got good fishing. But it bothers you. I mean, it's caught your attention.
I don't know what sort of does Cousin Ahmed's boat have one lamp in the front to guide it forward, or how is this other boat lit? Does there seem to be anything? Is there any indication that it's keeping an eye on us?
Not particularly. Of course, once the sun's gone down, you can't really keep track of it. Maybe there's just a faint flicker of light.
Yeah.
As I recall from one of my boating friends, that there is a system of lights in order to know whether a boat's coming towards you or going
Red
away.
and green, port starboard.
The red and green. I don't know if they used that back then, but you can see lights on the water. Just once again, it is a busy port, busy the Bosporus. In any case, you eventually pull up towards shore, and the Bosporus is a fairly deep place, so he can get within 150 feet of the shore, and then he's got a little boat where you can just row across.
Okay. So coordinate a signal that we could give him for when we're going to be headed back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something basic.
3 lights or something.
Yeah. Should we leave Farrar on with Ahmed to keep guard, do you think? Or do we need his muscle to deal with the tomb?
Didn't really time. I mean, he could probably figure out what we're doing.
He's willing to help whatever you need to do. Obviously, you're not coming over here at night to
have a tea party.
I say, how much have you told him?
I think we told him that we're kind of like scholars trying to look up some forbidden knowledge.
Yeah, but now you got picks and shovels.
Yeah. That's where the forbidden knowledge is. It's big.
And there was an assassination at the bathhouse, so he's aware that we're dealing with dangerous characters.
Yeah, let's bring him.
Yeah, he seems to have handled some of that pretty well.
Yeah.
all of the day's work in Constantinople. After all, when you met him, he was being beaten up by
that's true. That's true.
by his clients.
Yeah, we're treating him better than they did, so I guess.
All right. So onto the shore. You've got your things. You start making your way through the now creepy graveyard. There are votive candles lit here and there, but without having to roll any kind of navigation, you work your way back towards Grosnet's tomb. You arrive there, and you're going to start digging it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We are careful with the lantern lights, right? We only illuminate what we need and don't make a shining beacon. And I think also one of us should be keeping watch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did you bring Ferrero with you or not?
We did.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'll dive in, digging.
So you start moving the top part so that you can start digging. You start digging. Everybody do a listen roll.
Yeah. Oh, no, 86. That doesn't look good.
50 against 49, so I could spend 1 point of luck.
I have a regular success only, 37.
Okay.
86 to 57.
So you become very aware that pretty much anything that you're doing is going to make some noise. There aren't any people, except that as you begin your work, you hear a noise, and it's hard to hear at first because it's very quiet, but it's somebody coming towards you in the cemetery. And because it's quiet, you think bare feet. And in fact, your friend Ulularan shows up, and he's like, "Oh, you've come back."
Yes, yeah, and obviously talking through Ferrer. Yes, we had more conversing with this the dead.
Oh, he says, he shakes his head and he says, "Very restless tonight. Oh, yes, they move in great numbers tonight."
Then when they move, do they move under the ground or above?
Under the ground, over the ground, behind the tombs, in front of them. They're everywhere. Can't you hear them? Can't you hear them?
I think you have unusually sensitive ears. Is it a good sign when they're very active, or is it a bad sign?
Oh, I haven't seen so many in so long. He says it's practically a dance. And he sort of gets up and sweeps back and forth. He says, "What are they up to? What are they after? Why are they coming?"
I would suspect you know that better than we do, since you are their closest friend.
They're all sneaking around. And are you guys moving starting to dig? He says,
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's like, he says, yes, that's what he needs. He says, get closer to him, get down to where you can hear him breathing under the ground.
Yeah, we'll get there. Let's see what he has to say. And I start digging.
He wants you to keep him company.
Of course he does.
All right, so you dig down, and you finally get to the place where there is a stone sarcophagus, which has a lid on it, that you will have to crowbar off. So you think that, the four of you will be able to sort of pry it up.
Just three. I'm plagued with weakness from my family.
Okay. Well, maybe Farrar will help you a little bit. But something happens, right? As soon as you put your crowbars in there and you start to shift the lid, Companion of the Dead, suddenly his whole demeanor changes, and he starts becoming very agitated. And Farrar says, he's saying, "Don't let him out, like this." And let's see, there are a few. He suddenly leaps onto Dr. Roland's back. Now, he probably only weighs about 85 pounds, but he's gone hysterical, like a kind of a little little demon, but a very weak demon. Not very good. But he's like, no, 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 no. You don't want to let them out.
No, we just want to read some of the books he took with him for his journey. He'll stay here.
At that point, as you move the tomb lid a little bit, a smell comes out that's horrible. It's the smell of rotting flesh.
After all these
And
years.
it's almost overwhelming. I would like you all to do Constitution rolls.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Pass.
25 is a hard success.
28 also, yeah.
You all passed.
Regular.
16.
All right. You expected there to be something. You didn't quite expect it to be this bad, but you move back just from the horrible smell. The lid suddenly slides to the side.
Nice. Easy opening.
And what you see in the yellow light of your lanterns is a kind of bubbling ooze. And
That's not right.
it suddenly lurches up, pushing the lid off, and it looks very much like the Baylab thing. And its tentacled sort of members reach out, and Gunter, one of them wraps around your legs.
Legs? Both legs?
Well, one of your legs.
Okay.
And grabs you. Companion of the Dead starts yelling and running off into the darkness. Farrar jumps back, and this gluey, goopy, oddly hot thing starts climbing out of the grave.
Like temperature hot, right?
Like temperature, like scalding hot.
Not sexy.
Not sexy.
Not sexy. Gunter, do you take 1 point of damage.
Okay.
What do the rest of you do when you call out? Yeah.
Grab shovel, whack that tentacle on Gunther's leg. Not on the leg, but like as it, the part that's like, a foot away from his leg. I try to sever it there.
Okay. You're trying to do that? Roland.
I think I will drop this lantern into this tomb and hopefully distract this ancient thing that should not be here. There's no sign of... Does it have a face, or is it just ooze?
It's just goo. It's living, moving flesh.
400 years.
Oddly, it doesn't look... It looks like the Baylab thing.
Yeah. And there are no scrolls in here, I'm assuming.
Maybe underneath it all.
But,
seems the sarcophagus is full. Dr. Gabriel, what are you doing?
I believe that I think Theo has the right idea, so I'm taking my shovel and I'm stabbing at this thing.
I would like you all to do a sanity roll.
Yeah.
68 is not good.
Pass by 1.
23.
passed by 3.
Nice.
You can all take 1. Dr. Gabriel, roll 1d4.
Four.
Ooh.
Okay, you start attacking it, but you're yelling angrily and in fear at it. I then want you all to do spot hidden rolls.
Fail.
24 is a hard success.
Ooh,
Mm.
16. I think that is spot hidden. Oh, darn it. I missed extreme by 1 point.
Okay. Well, Theodore and Dr. Gabriel, although you're whacking at this thing, and the other two are trying to not lose it, and Farrar has jumped back and is yelling, and Companion has run off into the darkness. Dr. Neruda and Theodore, you get the impression that the dead are rising from their tombs, because all around you, coming from behind graves and from in between graves, there are people, men.
Hmm.
And then your second thought is, oh shit, they're not zombies. They're just cultists. And you now realize that there may be 50 cultists.
This is an ambush.
Oh, gee.
Emperor.
And they are going to rush at you
My.
from all different directions. What do you do?
What is the status of Gunther's leg? Is he free?
Gunter is being held by the thing.
Mhm.
And you guys now realize that this whole thing may have been a trap, a setup. And you guys are surrounded by cultists.
Does hitting that tentacle thing help loosen it or free him, or has that not happened? Or were you...
Go ahead and try again.
Okay, sure. So that would be like a brawl or
A brawl.
deck?
Yeah, we'll
or...
call it a brawl.
That is a... Oh, of course, it's a fail now. All those great successes until... Yeah, sorry.
Mattered.
Yeah, it's grabbed a hold of Gunter and it doesn't want to let him go.
Mhm.
And so Lantern isn't bothering it very much.
Not much.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that, I mean, Thursby was on watch since he couldn't dig, but we seem to have been rather thoroughly foxed. Without having to hold the ladder, I'm free to wield the Mimsa Heath, but I'm afraid that it only reaches as far as my arm. But I'll climb up and begin fencing with it, looking probably rather ridiculous.
I mean, if you use it to cut this thing that has Gunther, we can run.
Yeah, they're all around us. Yeah, I'll try to slice the tentacle. That makes sense.
Okay, go ahead and do a brawl.
Yeah, I'm sadly not such a great brawler. Excellent surgeon, not a great brawler.
Yeah.
How does the
I'll have-
Mimsy Heath feel about touching this thing at all? Does it
Well-
suck up life, or does it recoil from something unnatural?
I think we determined last time that it cuts through it like it's almost not there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But whatever it is, it's not alive. So it's probably
Doesn't
trying to
feed.
drop magic points from you.
Right.
Roland, you're busy trying to cut that thing free. Gunter is struggling with it, but I'd like Gunter and Theodore and Dr. Neruda to once again do a spot hidden roll.
Oh, spot hidden. Okay. Now,
15 is a hard success.
Fail.
23, hard success as well.
I'm paying attention to the tentacle, which seems
Yeah.
reasonable.
Makes sense. Who got the hard successes?
Yeah, hard success.
Theodore and Gabriel. Probably more horrific than anything that you've experienced so far is you see the cultists moving forward and getting to about where Farrar is, who is yelling. Farrar stops yelling and steps to the side and joins their ranks and starts laughing
Oh,
at you.
Shoot him. Put a bullet for that traitor's eyes.
yeah.
You realize now he's one of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so our boat here is not going to help us get away. Oh, boy.
Oh, and we gave them all the simulacrum pieces.
You've given them all the simulacrum pieces.
Oh, this is just really bad. All righty then. So we need to get Gunther free and then run for it.
Well, at this point, they're going to run forward. It doesn't seem immediately like they are going to kill you. Seems more like they're going to try to restrain you for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I will.
But you can try to take a few of them out if you want to.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, 50. We're not all armed. So my 6 shots at best will take 6. Unless we line them up just right. But even then, I don't think so.
I think you'll get 1 round off before you are probably overwhelmed.
Oh, they're that close now. Holy cow. Okay.
They're running forward. And we'll say that that's going to happen, but they've got you surrounded, and they quickly overpower you. Once they've got a hold of Gunter, the thing lets go. But they've got you all restrained. You are pummeled a bit. You can each take 1d4 physical damage.
2.
And they
4.
they manhandle you till they get you to a certain place in the cemetery. They then set you each down side by side, and they tie you to tombs. They restrain you with rope. And you're all facing in the same direction. And as you are sitting there and they begin to chant, you see them bring a man on a chair. Their chair is suspended on poles,
Like Palanquin.
the way you see it. Yeah, exactly. And the man sitting in the chair looks very old. But he's dressed in robes. He's dressed in red robes. And they bring him in. And as they bring him in, he very ceremoniously stands up, and you see Farrar goes and takes a position near him. And he says something angrily, out loud, and Farrar interprets. He says, "You," very arrogant, you are fly specks beside men of knowledge, and worth nothing to our cosmic Lord. You shall die appeasing our master, the skinless one, and he shall look favorably upon me when I assume the mantle of the Sedevkar simulacrum, which you have foolishly brought to us. Your agony will satiate his lust to revenge your audacious meddling in our plans." And he calls out something, and they bring in they bring in this struggling, squealing, sort of wrapped in oilskin package. It's big, bigger than the Bay Lab thing, but it's something that's all wrapped up. They bring it in and they begin to uncover it. And they reveal 12 children.
Yeah.
And the children are squealing and in horror, eyes wide, mouths open. And it would seem that they have been tied together, sewn together with twine. Any bits that are sticking out, their noses, their lips, their ears, their body parts, have just seemingly randomly been sewn together. Some of the children are crying and screaming. Some of them are catatonic. They've lost all semblance of they're gone. They then bring in these tubs, these 3 tubs of something. But you get the feeling that it's more of that bubbling ooze. And the cult leader, who you now guess is Suleiman the Red, raises his hands and he begins to chant. And they dump this liquid flesh over the children. And the whole thing begins to meld itself together into an abominable horror. And you guess that what they're going to do is let this get you, since you guys are tied up. But as he finishes his magical incantation, he says something to the extent, I'll translate it anyway, of, and now we must go to the Red Mosque, where we will complete the spell and become ascendant. No longer will we hide in the shadows. And he orders everyone to take him, to let's go. So as this thing is sort of forming, they all start to gather together and carry Suleiman back into the darkness, and leave you to your fate. I'd like you to do spot hiddens.
Gosh, dang, I cannot spot
96.
86.
That's a 73 out of 70.
You're probably
So-
all
Should I
in
spin
horror.
3 luck to see what the...
No, that was
Maybe
silly. But I would like you to all do sanity rolls as this
Yeah.
thing begins to come to life.
Oof.
There we
80s.
go.
89.
93.
Yeah.
22. Hey, I'm good
Yeah.
with that.
Keeping it together, dude. I failed.
2d6.
Ouch. Only got 1d6. So. Ooh, 3.
6 in total.
5 in total.
Jeez. I'm guessing at least 1 or 2 for me, even though I passed.
Yeah, well, if you pass, then 1d3.
1d3. Ready?
And I passed my intel check after losing 5.
Yeah, to do intel if you've lost.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
passed as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
Of course you
Smarties.
did.
Shit myself.
Where's my notes? What's your alter roll? Actually, well, you guys can't really do some things. So, either you're going, well, let's see. I'll say do 1d4s.
3.
Okay.
4.
Or as well.
All right. So Gunter, you begin, screaming uncontrollably in horror. And Dr. Kurz and Dr. Neruda, I'm going to say it. You got flee and panic. So what you can do is roll strength rolls to see if, for some lucky reason, you can break your bonds.
42 is a pass.
38 is a pass.
Okay, so struggling violently, your ropes begin to tear through as this monstrous thing begins to roll towards you. Theodore, what are you doing? You've managed to keep it together.
Well, I'm going to try to break free.
You can also do struggle then. And you can do strength.
Oh, great! But I'm weakened, so I guess that's roll with a penalty die.
Penalty dice, yeah.
Boy, good. Ooh, there's a critically pass. That's just a 10. Now let's see a 90 now. Let's see. Oh, a 50. It still succeeds. I still pass.
All right. So you 3 of you pass. Okay, except for poor Doctor. Except for poor Gunter.
The escape artist.
I
know.
You can roll for your magic.
My sage.
Your sleight of hand.
Yeah.
You're
even though you're hysterical.
The whole campaign waiting.
Nope, I'm still bound.
All right.
99.
All right. So not quite simultaneously, but the 3 of you suddenly find that the ropes were not very good, or the tombstones themselves might have had some sharp edges. And you feel the rope snap as you are sitting there. But Gunter is too hysterical, excuse me, to break. All right.
I'm
so
helping.
you're gonna help him?
Oh, totally. If the 2 doctors are running for their lives and panic, I see my buddy Gunther, and he still needs to teach me a thing or two about photography from way back when. So
that's right.
Okay, so they're not necessarily running away. That was just to see if they break through their bonds. We'll forego any long-lasting insanity from seeing all of this at the moment. So you guys are trying to undo Gunter, and all of a sudden, coming up with you, Companion of the Dead comes running up, and he's trying to help you break the ropes or pull them loose.
Oh, nice.
But as this thing is now moving and rolling on little children's arms and legs coming towards you, there is suddenly a almost deafening in your ears roar, animal-like roar. And leaping past you in the darkness is what looks like a very large bear. And it barrels into this mass of churning child flesh and begins to struggle with it. And a man in a rather colorful outfit comes leaping forward as well with a fairly good-sized knife and cuts the rope and frees you. And he says, quickly, come with me.
Oh, my leg, it hurts.
You follow him?
Yeah, it's better than melted child arms.
If I have the presence of mind, I will see. Did the cultists take the Nimsihis with them? Or
yeah, they would have taken your weapon, your knife, your weapons.
Yeah. So after him, he's been following us. Now we can follow him.
All right. So I forgot. Oh, okay. So before you actually get the chance to start running away, some of the cultists who were leaving suddenly think that something's gone wrong because they're not hearing what they wanted to hear. So they're starting to come back, and they're coming after you. But you're running. You're all running now. Even Gunter is being helped to run.
Thank you.
And you see that the gypsy fellow seems to have his boat just near the shore. And he has a small dinghy that seats 5. Companion of the dead runs off into the darkness, as you would expect. But you manage to get in the dinghy, you get to the little fishing boat, and then he's taking you back across the Bosporus. He's the only person there. He's piloting it. If you want to talk to him, but you're all in shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he takes you back across, and then a lot of this is hard for you ultimately to remember, but you remember going down alleyways and getting hustled along, quite shocked and terrified, but you suddenly find yourself in a small room in a kind of an apartment. It's not dirty, but it's not great. He's gone over to a small kitchenette and he's making you tea. And you're all sitting there. He's giving you blankets because you're cold and you're grossed out. And maybe you've even been sick. And you're shaking, and he's making sure that you're warm. And after you seem to have calmed down a bit, he talks to you, and he says, okay, so he says, well, now, my friends, you must wonder who this is who has saved you from horrors unimaginable. I am not as you think. I'm not a gypsy at all. I am a Turk disguised as a gypsy, you see. My name is Akhtar, and I am a spy. I think that's how you say it. Yes, I am a spy for a man you may have heard of, Ataturk. Yes. I have been observing those men who would destabilize the coming Republic of Turkey. Problem causers, yes. Those men who had captured you, I was observing them. I have been for some time now. I saw them take the children. I do not understand the way of things. I reported their activities to the police, and yet still nothing has happened. I fear the police may be in on this horror. It was a foolish thing for me to do, a terrible, foolish thing for me, because you see, they came for me. I thought I was too clever for them, but they found my child, my daughter, my Asya, Those monsters, those fiends. I followed them into their hideout through the tunnels. I had to know if she was still there. Through the cistern, I followed them. The things that they have down there, things straight from hell. I finally found her. By now, he's kind of in tears. I wish I hadn't. They'd done terrible things to her, unspeakable things. They took things from her. She did not survive. They must pay. There are no words to describe the fire in my heart. It burns for revenge. I saw them following you, but I kept my distance. I did not know why you were important to them, but it doesn't matter. You are their enemy, and that makes you my friend. If you did not have some reason to hate them before, I know that you do now. Let our hatred burn together. We must destroy them utterly. We must crush them under our feet and make them pay. No one else will help us.
My God.
Agreed.
Oh, dear Lord. Kids.
Well, we know where they are going.
Yep.
Um,
And Akhtar, you said you know how to get there through the cisterns?
I do. I followed them. There's a secret way in. You can't go in from above. There's too many of them.
mm,
But once we are inside, they won't expect it. They won't. There's so many inside. They'll just think that you are part of their cult.
Are there many Germans in their cult that I could blend in with?
I mean, we don't want to talk, but
Yeah.
there are white people involved.
Okay,
as
yeah.
well.
your bear, can it come with us?
I said I don't think that it made it. It fought that thing, but
That thing is not natural after all.
no.
Well, we have no weapons at this point. Do you have some things we can use?
I might be able to rustle up some weapons. We have to be careful. They're everywhere.
Yes.
We have learned this to our detriment. We have given them a very powerful weapon as well.
Well, then we need to go tonight. We need to not give them a chance.
Yeah.
There is a secret way in that I know, and there is a cistern that we must cross. But I have been planning this, and now that I have you with me, we will get inside, and if we can cause a distraction, we can free the other children that they have.
Okay.
What monsters they are.
Disgusting. Yeah.
So, if you've rested up enough, we should go before they get too far ahead of us.
Yeah, if there's any sort of weapons we can grab, I mean, we'll need something. Knives,
guns and knives.
Yeah, club, whatever we can have.
We'll get them along the way.
Okay.
Lead the way, Akhtar.
And I think that's actually where we're going to end it.
Whoa.
Because it's a good spot for cliffhanger.
Jeez.
Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, David Gasaway, Stuart Lively, and Keith Craig with yours truly as the keeper of arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastery. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon account. Or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure in the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.